All right, hello everyone. We're here with Speed Gaming. I apologize for some delays in getting started. We are in the process of getting everything set up. We should be ready to start soon. Let me just press the button. Hopefully that's at a good volume for everyone else as well. Today we have Luigi's Mansion 44 versus Drieky. Let me see if I can figure out who our mentors are today. Might not be able to. I can't see. Anyways, we are about to start. The first thing that we do is space jump first. I don't know why Drieky's frozen. That's unfortunate. Luigi's Mansion makes it over on the first try, which is really nice. This one, you can see people need 2 or 3 or even 4 tries to get that. And we get space jump first. Would you look at that? The trick lives up to its name. The reason we call it space jump first is because in vanilla, that room gives you the space jump. That room is called alcove, and that's where you find the space jump. Normally, you're meant to only be able to get there after you get the boost ball, but with that little trick, you can make it right over and get space jump first. It's always fun to see that vanilla. That's not necessarily the best item that you can have in terms of early game routing, but it's definitely very convenient. Nobody's going to be complaining about getting that. The most convenient thing that you would get is a missile. This would let you do a bunch of other stuff. This would let you do Artifact Temple. In theory, you could also do a Transport Tunnel B, because you need missiles to get there. It looks like Drieky is just a bit ahead. That might be down to the difference in timer. No, it looks like they are actually just a tiny bit ahead. Now, at least when they're not frozen, you know. It's not on the grapple edge. It looks like a morph ball. And a very convenient missile here. We want to grab this missile in the half pipe because it will allow us to do some other item checks. Firstly, it looks like Luigi's Mansion wants to take this over to... Ooh, there was a grapple beam on Vault Ledge, which is very interesting. And Drieky's using that grapple beam immediately to go get the morph ball, which is really smart. For one, it means that Luigi's Mansion, who is only going to be able to peek this item, would have been able to grab it. Thankfully, it's only a missile, so we don't have any regrets about our choice of routing. I'm guessing that Luigi's Mansion just hasn't peeked the Vault Ledge item. I think if they had, they probably would have gone and get that. Let me actually open up the Twitch chat now, because I'd realize I've been streaming with that off. Hello, chat. It is me. Luigi's Mansion is going to be doing this jump to get the item. Manages to get it. That jump is technically... it's very slightly tricky. It's not, like, massively difficult, but it is harder than making a jump that the vanilla game would expect you to do. There's a super missile behind Hive Totem. That's very interesting. I didn't see what Hive Totem actually had, but the super missile behind. Very handy. Oh, it was just nothing on the Hive Totem. Luigi's Mansion gets the Morphin Ball, and that grapple beam that we saw earlier was on, of course, Vault Ledge. Missile expansion in the tree, so that isn't what our super missile was pointing us towards. Drieky has to be a little bit conscious of health here. We've got 44 energy left. Drieky is jumping up to get this item. I don't think that's... I think it was just a missile. I guess they haven't seen it yet. Chozo has been kind of uneventful so far. Everything important's been in main plaza, except for the supers. We still have plenty more to explore, though. Drieky's going to be heading towards Ruined Fountain, which is going to be, the other side of Chozo, really. We needed the Morph Ball to get under those tree roots there, and those ones there. It's just going to be a missile in Ruined Fountain. That's not going to be anything we come back for. That's kind of a waste, but whatever. I didn't actually know the normal missile locks could be broken by super missiles. I never did that. I guess the game isn't picky. We scan the 4 runic symbols and unlock the suit. The Varia suit, I think? Yes. We don't have bombs, so we're just going to turn around and leave. We are probably going to check the underwater item, though, while we're here. That's a power bomb. Go get it, go get it, go get it. Drieky, you want it, you want it. No, you gotta pull away from the wall. Doesn't quite get the slope jump right. The important part of the slope jump is that you jump up, like, into the wall, and then you pull away from it after. If you don't pull away, you don't get your full height. Like, look at Luigi's Mansion, how they're pulling away from the wall to the left at the height of their jump. That is part of how it works. Drieky is probably going to make a save and try again. The save station does refill your energy in Prime, so that's going to be very handy. We also may opt to... Ooh, a warp to start. We're probably going to check Artifact Temple, Transport Tunnel... Change of heart? No, no, no. Just forgot to do the inputs for the save warp. Let's see where our artifacts are pointed. I was looking away. I probably shouldn't have been, but I didn't see anything on the artifact temple. Hall of the Elders. Okay, that's Ice Beam. Elite Quarters. Ooh, that's just... Oh, that's not great. Burn Dome, yeah, Quarantine Monitor. Elite Quarters, the Security Cave. Last one? Cargo Freight Lift Deck Gamma. Oh, these artifacts are kind of ass. These are kind of ass. I'm sorry. None of these individually is the Wave Buster in Dynamo, which Luigi's Mansion just grabbed using those power bombs. That's interesting. None of these artifacts individually, except Omega Pirate, is that bad, but they're all kind of messily strewn about. It's not like they're all in Fen or like they're all in Joe's. You just have to go everywhere. It's really inconvenient. You know, it's just not good. It can get a lot worse, but it can also get a hell of a lot better. Oh, is that a flamethrower? It can't be Wavebuster because Luigi's Mansion 44 just found the Wavebuster. And to my knowledge, they haven't RA'd any extra Wavebusters in or anything. Yep, no runners agreements for this tournament. Or for this match, I should say. Fire is sure. The lower item is just a missile. Another missile expansion. Misses the rock twice. And there's a power bomb expansion. So Drieky's not going to be regretting the choice to skip the power bomb from earlier. At least not yet. Remember, we don't have any bombs, so we're gonna need kind of a lot of power bombs to do all of the things that we want to do. So, for example, Lava Lake is not going to be possible. Also, we're just going to have to wait for the Triclops to let us go, because we don't want to waste our power bomb on this loser. That would be a really bad financial decision, so we're just going to get tossed around like a ball in a ball pit, I guess. And Luigi's Mansion is doing their hint read. Elite Quarters, Hall of the Elders, Burn Dome. Ooh, Plasma Beam. Cargo Freight Lift to Deck Gamma. That Plasma Beam is definitely interesting. I'm trying to think. What does that do for us? I guess it's going to be really helpful when we get to Fen, but the problem is that we can't really get to Fen. Because to get to Fen, we either need bombs to go through Transport Tunnel A, since there's the little jumps that you have to make while morphed. You can't do those without bombs. Or we would have to be able to go in through Workstation, which also isn't going to happen without some more beams. So that plasma for Phendrana's the ice walls isn't quite in play yet. That's not quite possible. I'm sorry for the interruptions that we're experiencing. This has been an ongoing issue. There's a wave beam for Luigi's Mansion in Root Cave. It's a very nice find. Luigi's Mansion isn't going to be making a play at the Arbor Chamber out of bounds. But that wave beam is going to be pretty important. That's going to open up a lot of stuff. If Drieky puts off Root Cave, it's possible that that could come back to bite. Remember, it's not in logic for Drieky because Drieky doesn't have the X-ray visor, and we're not expected to climb invisible objects without X-ray visor. But Luigi's Mansion did find it, so it is perfectly in logic from their perspective. Now you can actually see the raindrops falling on that first one, but they kind of realized that people could use that to get up, so they did not add that detail to the other platforms. However, if you do shoot them, even if you can't see them, your shots will not just pass through. You will be able to actually see them. Drieky grabbed the energy tank. Also, I do apologize for my dogs in the background. They bark. Dogs do that. There's wave beam. Luigi's Mansion, on the other hand, immediately going to be finding that plasma beam because we're going to the lower item in Triclops Pit very first. Alright, I'm going to have to go AFK for a moment. I'll be right back. We do see that Luigi's Mansion is about to go get plasma, but it looks like, yeah. I'll be right back. I have returned. I now have a soda. Semper Fire Dog. Uh, oh, that's kind of a nice username. Were you in the Marines? Asks no trick settings. We do actually have quite a few tricks enabled with these settings. So some basic things like standable terrain and slope jumps, standing on enemies. Our players will be potentially expected to do those at least like a low level. Some of our more advanced tricks are disabled completely. Like invisible objects, our runners will never be expected to do those, regardless of difficulty. I don't remember the exact trick settings. It's just kind of a lot to keep track of, but there are definitely a few. Honestly, looking at this tracker, it kind of feels like Luigi's Mansion is ahead, since we have that X-ray visor and Drieky does not. It's really hard to say though, since I feel like Drieky has better positional. It's just in a good spot in terms of the game map, whereas Luigi's Mansion always feels just a bit behind in terms of that. I'm not really sure, if I'm being honest. Oh wait, yeah, Drieky's about to check Dynamo. No, yeah, Luigi's definitely ahead, man. I'm switching the audio over to them. Drieky finds the Wave Buster. Not great. Meanwhile, Luigi's Mansion. We're going to see a new item check. Luigi's Mansion is currently heading towards Tower of Light. There's also Tower Chamber, so that's two items that required this wave beam. Oh, plus Lower Ruin Shrine, this item behind the sandstone wall. It is sandstone in Prime 1, right? That's a missile expansion. It's not anything important, but it's definitely something that's nice to have a few of. Now we're going to do this jump up here. This skips a spider track, what Luigi's Mansion is about to do. You can see that spider track that we just passed. We don't actually need that. Luigi's Mansion is going to do this underwater slope jump. That's one of the easiest ones in the game, so thankfully it doesn't take us too long. At least in my opinion. That one's pretty easy. Possibly even one of the easiest slope jumps in general. And now we have one item left here, Tower of Light. This room that we're in right now, it's called Tower of Light, and there's a bunch of pillars that we're supposed to shoot with missiles. I was about to do this big speech about how we're going to skip Tower of Light's missile checks, but maybe we're doing it vanilla. I don't know. I can't see. Actually, we don't have enough missiles. We need, I believe the number was 36 missiles to do it in the intended manner. We currently only have a maximum count of 30, so obviously we're going to be doing it. We're going to be scan dashing off of this Oculus. I didn't know you could scan dash off the one from above. I'm not used to seeing people do that. And now we're at the top of the room. That wasn't the cleanest Tower of Light I've seen, but we never fell down, which is more than you can say for a lot of runners. It's very common during this trick to just fall down, completely, take a dip in the drink, so to speak, at the bottom of the room, often multiple times. So that just doing it at all without, floundering is really quite impressive. Uh, It didn't really matter too much, as it turns out. But it's still something that Drieky's almost certainly they're going to have to do. Artifact of Elder. I noticed that Drieky now has bombs. Were those in the back of Burn Dome, by any chance? Interesting. That's how I'll phrase it. Not bad. It's interesting. That's really bad. It's possible that that's just put Drieky in a massive lead here, because Luigi's Mansion is not going to want to check that item. If it can at all be avoided. We're going to go to TCA now. Just another missile. Doesn't manage to get the instant on the tunnel exit. Not that it's a huge loss or anything. And another missile in a training chamber. Hall of the Elders is an artifact. Just a reminder. Elder Chamber might have an item, but the... Oh wait, I switched audio over while Drieky was frozen. Hopefully they come back soon, because they do have a lead, I would say. If you look at their trackers, and if you look at where they physically are in the world, Drieky definitely has an advantage over Luigi's Mansion. Whatever, let's just use Luigi's audio. Thankfully, it does seem they're not putting Zoid off. With 4 power bombs, I believe it is technically possible to do Flagra. But I think you do need like a PB drop. I forgot. I think there's like some sandstone blocking the entrance, so it'd be kind of a ball like if you didn't have an expansion. There's bombs. Drieky, meanwhile, is just going to do Tower of Light. This could potentially... Ooh, I don't see this standable too often. It's much more common to go for the one on the left side of the room, as opposed to that one. Now, Drieky does have enough items to do this in the intended manner. Does have enough missiles, I should say. Oh, we're not going for that, though. Oh, he fell down. That's unfortunate. It's also worth noting that when you shoot all 4 of the pillars, there's a little cutscene that plays where the room sort of falls down, and in that cutscene you can see what items at the top. Uh, that's something that you'll often see. It's called checking the item. It takes a little bit longer if you end up getting it, but if you don't, it can save some time. It's a move I really recommend for any players who struggle with Tower of Light. It can save you time, a lot of time. Drieky doesn't seem to need it, though. Gets up the room. Boom. I'm interested to see if if Drieky will find anything in Gallery Tunnel. That's a possibility. Luigi's Mansion is going to stroll up this spider track. If you find just the right position, you can do that. Uh, that wasn't like a trick or anything. That was literally just Luigi's Mansion walking up the spider track. That's all there is to it. There's just like a one very specific spot where you can do that. It's very strange to the outside observer. Upper Furnace is junk. Might see a save warp here. I don't usually see people take the tunnel in that room next to the energy core. I'm not sure where Boost was, actually. We have it, I just don't know where it was. Drieky goes out of their way to get this ice spreader in vault. Luigi's Mansion most likely will never come back for that, though. It's just a missile expansion and gallery tunnel, so Drieky does not come out on top at all. That's not going to help us in the slightest. It is worth noting that Luigi's Mansion is actually reclimbing Root Cave to do Arbor Chamber Vanilla. This also isn't going to pay off at all. This is just an energy tank, and we've got plenty of E to work with already, so that's really not going to be necessary. It is pretty convenient, though, because we're just going to drop down this room. We get caught on that little bridge there. We're just going to fall down this room and go to Magmore. That's going to let us go to Fen. Going to Fen is kind of what we want to do. We could also see play into the deeper parts of Magmore, but I don't see that as being very realistic. That's most likely not going to take place. We would want more beams. Oh, that's where Boost Pod was. It was in Lava Lake. No wonder Drieky had been missing it for so long. That makes so much sense. That really explains it, yeah. Oh, yeah, one of our chatters apparently was going through the VOD to check that. I don't know how to do that on Twitch while a stream is still running. But then again, I just like to keep current. I don't want to miss anything. Nothing in Upper Fire Shores. Luigi's Mansion needs to quit delaying, go to Fen. Just a little missile expansion in the lighthouse. Spider Ball. That was in Ice Ruins East, I believe. Yeah, should do. Worth noting, laying a power bomb there actually is not the fastest way. Ooh, misses the bomb. That's even more not fast. This room gives runners a lot more trouble than you would imagine. Doing it that quickly is not easy. It's really hard. And there's not really like a huge penalty for failure, and you don't really get a whole lot for doing that little tunnel well. But like, it's still pretty challenging. That's part of why you see so many runners miss this, even at kind of a high level, because it's not really significantly. You're not super rewarded for putting in the time to get that consistently in the fastest way possible. It's just a nice bonus that you can pick up. That's Spider Ball for Luigi's Mansion as well. Luigi's Mansion is immediately going to try the spider track now. I didn't see if Drieky did this. Probably did. I would assume they would do that. It's just nothing. It's nothing. Luigi's Mansion has a slight lead here, but it's very volatile. It could easily swing the other way. They routed Fen a little bit cleaner. You really should be doing Ice Ruins East into Ice Ruins West if you can at all help it. So, which means that you want to do Chozo Ice Temple first. Otherwise, you're just kind of crisscrossing Phadrana shorelines a little bit more than you need to, which isn't ideal. There could be other considerations, like if Lighthouse has something important and you don't have all the items yet, you might want to do the ice runes first so that if you don't get it, and I'm over-explaining this. We see Luigi's Mansion decide to scan the scan post, which isn't super common. But Canyon doesn't have anything we want, so we are going to leave. Turn around and go. Yeah, we do want to do Ice Ruins West last, and our current priority list is to do Ice Ruins West last because that's what leads to labs, and we don't want to go to labs and potentially miss the ice beam along the way. It's not there. Now we have to move forward. Ruined Courtyard could hold an item that we want. There's our ice beam, ruined courtyard. That's excellent news. That's pretty much go mode. We don't need anything else at this point. The only item that's a little iffy is cargo freight lift and deck gamma, which you can see right now, but you don't need gravity suit for that at all. You're not even logically expected to have it. The logic expects you to just go get it and then save warp out, which you can do very easily with just the power suit. There's no issue doing that at all. Well, we're not in go mode, because we don't know where the phase-on suit is, but besides that, what's Luigi's Mansion doing? Wrong way. Turn around. It's like when you go backwards on the track in Mario Kart. Luigi's Mansion just got a bit turned around. Had to lost a little bit of time to that, but it's nobody saw that. We are going to do the Thardus Cumon sort of stuff first, just because that's a bit quicker than doing labs. Though we might just not do labs at all. Since again, we now have all our beams. We could just go for phase on hint. We do need a security cave and one other item in Fen, which I'm forgetting. A quarantine monitor, which we're right next to. That's right. But I feel like there's a third one. We didn't have transport access this seed, did we? That was the previous seed, I'm sure of it. Interesting divergence here. We see Drieky choosing to do labs, perhaps still in that get all of the items I possibly can mentality, and not thinking about the hint play. Artifact number 2 for Luigi's Mansion 44. He's currently doing pretty well for himself, I think. This has been pretty good gameplay from both of our players, but I like Luigi's Mansion 44 just a little bit more. Yeah, transport access was last seed I did. Was it the last seed? It was a seed I did, certainly. But not this one. First item of labs, Drieky finds a power bomb expansion in Research Lab Hydra. Unfortunately, that's not going to really give them much of an advantage. Item number 2 of labs, observatory, just an energy tank. We do not need those. Drieky is taking a save. The save in labs always looked a bit weird to me. Like the base plate that Samus is standing on always looked a bit off, different from the other save stations. I'm not sure if that's just me. I think that might just be me. Yeah, X Renko, that is true. It is true that the game makers have a hint if you have supers but not charge beam. But like, let's be realistic. They still expect you to get charge beam. It's just that charge beam is technically optional until you get the super missiles. Then after that, there are some required super checks that you're supposed to have super missiles for. That's why they did it. It's a fail safe. It's not an expectation. That's artifact number 3 in Security Cave for Luigi's Mansion 44. It's just that, if somebody somehow went through all of the Chozo stuff and just decided not to go to Watery Hall, which they could conceivably do. Yeah, we did see a trigger skip from Drieky, which is cool. Now we have item number 3, a missile expansion. That's like half of our items in labs. We have 2 items in research lab ether, and then we have the item in research core. So far, labs is not the play. I've got to say. What's Drieky doing? That was weird. That was some strange movement. I'm not sure what was going on there. The trigger is only in front of the door you come in from. There's no trigger in front of the door you leave. At least not to my knowledge. I am a little bit out of date, but I'm pretty confident saying that. Careful of the gel zaps. The upper item is a missile expansion. The lower item is... Oh, these pirates are bullying us. We're gonna shoot them. Where is it? I don't see an item. What? I never keep track of which tank it is in, but I guess it's just nothing, right? Oh, it's a missile expansion. It's the one in the back. I thought it was the one closer to the door. So that's 2 more non-items. We have 1 item left in labs, or this whole thing will just be a power bomb expansion and some junk. Research core, research core, research core. Scan the terminal. Come on. Thermal visor. Vanilla. Awesome. Vanilla research core. Let's go. Is this even randomized? Guys, I think this is not randomized. I think this is actually vanilla? Question mark? Go get it. And Thermal Visor is very helpful for final bosses, but I imagine Luigi's Mansion is not going to sweat over missing it right now. We are going to check this item in face on Processing Center real quick. That looked like a Powerbomb expansion? Yeah. We're going to grab it. Can never have too many. We are going to quickly do the Elite Control fight. Drieky, meanwhile, obtains the Artifact of Warrior in Security Cave for Artifact number 2. Some of these missiles are bouncing, and also Luigi's Mansion almost flubbed the manip there, but thankfully we brought it back. Or we were about to kill the pirate, rather, so it doesn't really matter. ECA? Let's see, anything on Boombox? That's a gravity suit. That's going to be very handy later. There we go. I mentioned Luigi's Mansion's got to be feeling a lot more comfortable about Cargo Freight Lifted at Gamma. Even though you don't need Gravity Suit, and not even in Logic do you need that, it's still very handy to have. No one's going to be complaining. Nobody. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like a missile expansion. Yeah, it's just a missile. It might have been a PBX. Miss Nicolette Phoenix says, guarantees progressive damage reduction too, yeah? That's correct. In the default settings, we have something called progressive damage reduction, which means that how much damage your suits absorb, it depends on how many you have. With 2 suits, you get promoted from 10% to 20% damage reduction. Once we have all 3, which will include our Phazon suit, that will go to 50% damage reduction. Luigi's Mansion is getting a little bit too happy, a little too overzealous with this turning. You can only hit the pirate, the elite pirate, when you're phasing mostly in the same direction. You can't shoot it in the back, unfortunately. You have to shoot it in the face. There's a bit of a back and forth in that regard. Oh, what's that? Is that a Phazon suit in the Powerbomb maze? Am I crazy? Yeah, that's Phazon suit. That's go mode right there. Luigi's Mansion, feeling completely vindicated and not going to labs. This is kind of a terrible maze, though. I will say, this is not a very good maze. We're still not done with it. It's so long! Oh, this maze! Oh, we're still not done! We still gotta go over here. Aw, that was a bad maze. But a very good item. Immediately taking a save. I can definitely see the desire for that. Was that actually a bad maze, or am I overreacting? I'm not like a big Prime guy, so I don't know if I'm just overreacting, but that felt like a pretty bad maze. It just felt like it. Luigi's Mansion taking the strange decision to fight the turrets instead of to go through the tunnel or whatnot. The thing that we see at the tie level is that there's actually a tunnel that runs underneath this room. And most players will take the tunnel, pop out the other side. This is like in a very high level play. This is like in speedruns. And then scan the scan post. Because the turrets deal a ton of knockback and a lot of damage as well, you really just don't want to deal with it. Forgetting which scan terminal opens the force field in MQA as well. Probably time for Luigi's Mansion to practice their lower minds. Just saying a few minor. It feels like Luigi's Mansion maybe doesn't remember the full room layouts quite as well as some other players do. I might be stretching it here. It might just be the race time nerves as well. That's very possible. It's just an energy tank in MQA, so thankfully we can hold on to our power bombs, precious as they are, for a little longer. I mean, obviously, we already know that Ice Spreader and Thermal Visor aren't going to be here, so we're only going to find expansions. Does Luigi's Mansion want that Thermal Visor, though? Probably does. So I imagine we'll probably be checking all of these items on the way to Mega Pirate anyways. The game gives Drieky a little reminder. You don't have Spider Ball. Quit it. Oh wait, no, we do have Spider Ball. What was that text on screen? Maybe it was like opening the door with the wrong weapon. I was just glancing over for a second. I saw some kind of text at the top of the screen. Now I look silly. About to grab the artifact in Qmon. Boom. If you just looked at the trackers, you would think Drieky is maybe slightly ahead, but really, when we see where our players are in the game, like I said earlier, these artifacts are kind of messy because they're all over the place. And Luigi's Mansion is just way closer to getting another one than Drieky could ever possibly be. Not to mention the suits. We now have 50% damage reduction. Not that that's going to matter too much. Our runners most likely could complete this game easily with no damage reduction. It's just a nice quality of life, especially once we get to final bosses. So because they can deal a lot of damage. Yeah, the phase-on suit was on the power bomb maze. xrenco_1. I regret to inform you that the thermal visor was in Pirate Labs, which is in Phendrana, not in Mines. So we're definitely not seeing it. Luigi's Mansion would have to be pretty crazy to go look for that. It would easily be throwing the race to do that. I think that you would just want to make do without it. There is no sense in looking for that at this point, or looking for at least after we get out of Mines. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion doesn't know where it is, so it could be in his mind. It could just as easily be in any of these rooms in Mines. But once we're done with Mines, we're just going to stop looking for it. We're just going to grab our artifacts and go complete the game. That's what I would do. That's what anyone should do. This room is pretty dark, so it's easy to get lost in it. I'm sure you all experienced that when you were growing up with Prime. Thankfully, Luigi's Mansion is more experienced than I was when I was like 12 playing this game, and manages to find his way out of the room very quickly. These plasma pirates are just kind of annoying. They inhibit you from getting across the room. Even if they aren't real threats, they can absolutely put a damper on your progress. And we're gonna. Unfortunately, it appears that the burn damage doesn't finish off that plasma pirate, so we may still. Oh wait, no. I think I am wrong. Yeah, that plasma pirate is dead dead. We already know there's nothing in Metroid Quarantine B. We're going to take a save station. I appreciate how conservative Luigi's Mansion is being with these saves. It always pays to save. I'm going to give you that tip as well. For new players, save your game all the freaking time. You want to do that constantly. Losing progress hurts so much. Just don't risk it. Yeah. One of our last artifacts is in cargo freight lift to deck gamma. Luigi's Mansion doing the manipulation on the Omega Pirate. I've been alluding to a manipulation pretty much all of the race, but this is sort of where I get some time to actually explain what is being done. Basically, the all of the elite pirates, including Omega Pirate, can only start attacking you after they've had like an initial, after they've gotten to strut their stuff a little. What that involves is that they have to turn towards you and face directly at you. You have to be right in front of them, and then everything starts doing as normal. The issue is that there's no fail-safe, so if for some reason they can never turn to face directly at you, if you never let them do that, then they will just never do any of their normal attacks. Ever. So if you circle strafe around them in the right way, you can just keep hitting them over and over again without letting them do anything. And that's what we just saw Luigi's Mansion 44 do there, as well as to all of the other elite pirates that we've come across so far. They did almost mess it up when they were doing elite control. Ooh, unfortunately, Omega Pirate regenerates. That's not what you want to see. And now they will be able to do all of their attacks. Including this one, which annoyingly blocks a lot of our missiles. Okay, we should be able to finish the fight now. Barring any horrifying catastrophes. Come on, get ready to attack. Switch visors. There we go. Not too late. We're good. We're good. Drieky, meanwhile, is just about to find that Phazon suit. And that's fight. Artifact of Truth acquired. 2 artifacts remain. One of them, I believe, is in Hall of the Elders, and the other one is in Cargo Freight Lift. Like we mentioned earlier, CFL to deck Gamma. We're just going to check PCA because we want to. I'm curious how Luigi's Mansion is routing this. Most people would have taken a save warp, but yeah, Luigi's Mansion is going to take the save warp. We were just kind of on autopilot there. Like, oh, I'm going to go to PCA, to PPC, to all these other places that we don't need to go to. But taking a save warp would absolutely be the better play. Hall of the Elders, easy. You save warp, you go to Frigate Crash Site, you do the climb, and then you pop into the back of town. Easy peasy. Very simple. And Cargo Freight Lift, well, you just go to Frigate. That one's pretty straightforward. Hopefully Luigi's Mansion knows how to do Frigate Crash Site climb, because that would save a lot of time here. This is probably one of the most important climbs in the game because this access to this elevator on a repeat basis is so useful. I cannot understate how helpful this is. I cannot overstate it. We see Luigi's Mansion going for the climb. Even if you screw up a little bit, it's still a time save over walking around the long way. Struggling maybe just a bit here. And we managed to find purchase. That's a lot of the climb done. And up we go, and we're here. That's Frigate Crash Site climb. Ew. Just an energy tank in Root Cave, but... Or, sorry, Path of Roots. Or Overgrown Cavern. I keep getting room names wrong, I'm sorry. Amateur Hour. Amateur Hour. Also, you can't freeze those guys, they're immune to beams. Even though it took us a minute to get Frigate Crash Site climb, that was definitely the best move. That saved us time, a quite significant amount. That was our last hope of finding Thermal Visor, assuming that we don't check Elder Chamber while we're in Hall of the Elders. Oh, we're getting the missile refill. Incredible. I think that's a little unnecessary. You can get the one at the ship after we're done here, but like, that's still pretty cool. Because we're about to, like, presumably save warp from Reflecting Pool. So it seems a little unnecessary to me. Artifact number 5. Luigi's Mansion considers doing Elder Chamber, decides against it. That will actually be the right decision in this case. Oh, what are you doing, Luigi's Mansion? Is there another artifact I've forgotten about? Surely not. We're up to 5, right? We're just going back the slightly longer route. Let me update our artifact count. We are at 5 artifacts. And now we have our mandatory frigate. We do have gravity suit for this, so it's going to be very helpful. We're just looking around for the wave points, the power conduits. There's one. There are 3 in this room, I believe. 2 more. One of them is next to the door and will be pretty easy to find. That's not it. Again, this is still faster than finding thermal visor. There's 2. And the third one should be next to the door. And that's all that we need. The 2 in this room are pretty obvious. Although the door does take a while to open. And there's a cargo freight lift to deck Gamma. We just have to go backwards a room, enter the save station, and warp to start. It does take a minute. And it's time for Ridley. And we do have Plasma Beam for this fight, which is what we want to have, ideally. You do need Plasma Beam to defeat the first phase of Metroid Prime. So usually we do have it for this fight, but if we're like gunning for that phase on 2 hit, sometimes we might not. The most important item, which you might not realize, is, however, the boost ball. And there's sort of a secret trick that Retro doesn't want you to know about. If you use the boost ball to attack Ridley, it will just instantly nuke him. I believe is the colloquial term for it. Watch this. You'll see a little zap when we boost. You notice that little like electric zap? That's just Ridley losing all of his health. Now it instantly skips us to the final phase of Ridley's fight. There are some reasons why this doesn't just instantly kill Ridley, and I do not know them. From what I gather, it's basically a safeguard where if you deal like overkill, it will just automatically put Ridley in his last phase instead of just killing him like a normal enemy. A few more missiles in. We get another nice opportunity there to take advantage of. Almost done. Doesn't manage to get the free hand. We don't really go for it, but... it doesn't quite finish it off. One more round should do it. Now we enter final bosses. The Metroid here does give us a little bit of trouble. Another missile refill. I think that means we visited all 3 missile refill stations this game, because we went to the one in Mines, we went to the one in Hall of the Elders, and we went to this one. I think that should count for something. Doesn't make that jump. We go all the way back to the red phase on at the bottom of the room. That's really unfortunate. You really don't want to see that. That's something that we like to avoid because it's bad. I know, stellar commentary right there. We do not want things that are bad to happen to us. Drieky obtains artifact number 5 from Hall of the Elders. Alright, looks like we're on Subchamber 4. This is the part where the fight gets really interesting, because what Metroid Prime does is essentially completely random. I mean, obviously, it's not going to put on a top hat and drive off into the sunset on a brand new Harley Davidson, but it can do a lot of things here. It can increase the speed of its animation. It can change its beam vulnerability as many times and as often as it wants to whatever it wants to. Uh, its attacks are kind of a bit more random. There's a lot of things that can happen here, so it requires a lot of patience and an element of luck to play solid here. Luigi's Mansion has lost a fair bit of health overall, but should be fine as long as we minimize our damage. And we see the Wave Buster come out. We're on low missiles, so this is not a huge waste. It is a bit of a meme, but we still have enough for 2 supers if we so desire. And, you know, let's be real, we're not using Flamethrower. The thing about Flamethrower is that Plasma Beam is already really good, and Flamethrower is worse. It has less range, it doesn't hit as hard, really. And now we're on Essence. Thankfully, we get a lot of energy at the start of the fight from these pods that Essence breaks during that opening attack. So we're already like we already gained like 200 energy at least. We're not at any risk of dying. Not that we were at much risk before, but you know it's a nice top up. The one thing that could trip Luigi's Mansion up here is that we don't have Thermal Visor. So once Essence switches over into Thermal, we're going to have to do a little bit of looking. Hopefully. We managed to hit it once, but we don't really lock it down. We're trying to go off of audio cues, and we got it. It moves. It's visible again. A Plando without Plasma. No, I don't think anyone would want to do that, because then you would have to do Exo Skip. That would be mandatory. You need Plasma Beam to defeat Exo. Unfortunately, it looks like Luigi's Mansion moves a bit too far from that power bomb, and the Metroid on his back doesn't get hit by the power bomb. That, at least not by the first one. That does cost a little bit of time. Okay, we do manage to get a little bit of scratch damage in during the thermal phase, but not a ton. We're also taking kind of a lot of damage from these shockwaves. We already lost like 2 energy tanks. We're more than halfway through the health bar, though, so even at this current rate of energy loss, we should make it to the end of the fight pretty easily. And a lot of that was just having the Metroid on our back for that one period. We're almost to the end of the fight. And that's GG. Just taking a minute to register my click. There we go. It's quite likely that Drieky will choose to play this one out because we're already in final bosses. But congrats to LuigisMansion44. He put on a really good game for us today. Played this seed super well. By the way, I do apologize for the kind of slow commentary today. I do have some other stuff that I was doing, and also I kind of just woke up barely in time to commentate this race. I just wanted to make sure there was somebody on comms today. Hopefully you guys can bear with me. Also, big thanks to our tracker, Warren_Traveler, who's with me here today doing the tracking for this race. Really makes things a lot easier. I appreciate your contributions. I don't know if LuigisMansion44 is going to be joining us today. It's possible that he's just having some difficulty getting his invite from SpeedGaming. That tends to be quite delayed. Or just dodgy in general for some reason. Oh, looks like somebody joined us for like a millisecond there. Oh, hello, LuigisMansion44. It's nice to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. How's it feel to get another win under your belt?
That was my first one. But
All right, that's right. Sorry, I'm not too up to date with the bracket.
nah, it's all good. I could have won the other seed, but it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Pretty.
But still, getting a win has to feel pretty good now.
Yeah, that felt like a really jetty seed, and I was fighting Prime 1, and I noticed that my opponent was still going, so I'm like, hey, I might actually win this.
Yeah, they went into labs and they did find thermal visor in vanilla. By the way, that was what
Yeah,
thermal was.
I noticed when I was looking at the credits because I was kind of curious.
Oh, I don't know why Jay just joined for like a split second there, but
It happens.
we are going to be seeing Drieky finish out the seed just because they're already so far into it. They obviously just want to finish it to see what the time would have been, And for
Yeah,
the practice, you always want to practice these final bosses.
always.
They were already in EXO by the time that you were finishing, so this is definitely no surprise. Can you tell me a bit about how you read of that seed? Were there any locations that you were worried about coming to haunt you before you found that phase on suit? Before you found that?
Uh, I was worried it was gonna end up being in upper mines 'cause I knew everything that was required was in lower.
I was honestly kind of worried that back when we didn't have all the beams, that something important was going to be on gallery tunnel. Since I
Yeah,
don't believe you checked that.
no, I didn't check that.
Were there any
Uh,
parts of the seed that you feel you could have done better?
General movement could have been better because I'm trying to get better at our jump movement just to be a little faster.
Yeah,
But
incorporating R jumps, especially before you get that boost ball, can really speed you up.
yeah, and also learning where to actually use boost ball could also be pretty helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Were there any specific rooms that you felt you lost a lot of time to, or did the whole thing feel about consistent?
It felt pretty consistent. I'm really glad that my mentor showed me how to skip Thardus because that would have cost me the race if I had to fight him, I feel.
Yeah, to get to Kumon?
Yeah. Because I was about to backdoor it, and they're like, oh, hold on, let me show you Thardus skip from the front. Like, oh, okay, if that's actually a thing, sure. So I knew it would make my life easier than having to go all the way through Magmore.
Yeah, the
Just
trigger to
to,
fight Thardus is only on the front of the room, so as long as you don't go towards the part where you enter Thardus from, like, with super missiles and the wave conduit, as long as you don't go to that side of the room, you're good.
yeah,
If you play with the Prime Practice hack, you can actually see physically where all of these triggers are. I'd really recommend it to anyone who doesn't know super well where all of the triggers are. I assume that you probably have a pretty good idea at this point, just because of how well you've been playing. But just for everyone in the audience who might want to get into playing Prime at a more high level, I really got to recommend that. Uh, I had a question. Let me. Shoot, I forgot what I was going to ask. You can just talk a little bit about your experience with the seed.
well, I do want to say this is probably my fastest seed by like at least 45 minutes. Because I think,
Really, that much?
yeah, my last race was like 2:15-ish, and
Ooh.
that was a pretty close one as well.
Okay, I remember what I was going to ask. I noticed that you went to all of the missile stations in this game. What was that? Did you just like having full ammo a lot, or were you like?
Uh, I like having full ammo for Ridley and for Essence. I should have saved at the ship, looking
Yeah,
back,
that's
I'm
what I
glad I
was
did it.
thinking. What about the
Yeah,
one in Mines? Were you low on missiles going into OP?
yeah, needed missiles for OP.
All right, it is funny to see you go to every missile station in the game. That is kind of funny. You definitely were also very conservative with your saves. You took a lot of saves. I like that. I definitely think that players should do that more often.
Yeah, I know where my really bad places are in the seeds like that I do, so if I can avoid saving, because that's essentially free time loss if I save.
All right, and that's Drieky finished. Hopefully, we'll have them in here soon.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing that I feel like I could have done better. I don't know if it was logical or not, but I got main power bombs. That underwater item by Charge Beam. I had
Yes,
to
yes, in
re-enter
water
the
hell.
room because I almost fucking died trying to get it. Sorry,
Yeah,
I almost
Drieky
died
got
trying to
that a
find him.
lot earlier. You put that off for quite a while, I believe.
No, I went into the
Oh
room. I
wait, I think
tried
I might
getting it.
have
I
it
got
back. I might have it backwards. I'm not sure.
yeah.
I remember one of you just had a power bomb expansion only for a fair bit, and then
No, that
ended
was
up
my
coming
first
back.
power bomb.
Okay, then yeah, I have it backwards. Never mind. You were the one who did that pretty well then.
Yeah.
Let me just see what's on the schedule while we're waiting for Drieky. It looks like we're the only thing on right now on Speed Gaming. In a little bit, about 2 hours, we will have another Metroid Prime race on Speed Gaming 2. Let me just check. Yeah, Speed Gaming 2. As well as Zelda 1 Randomizer, the Winter Tournament 2024 is coming back. We have the Best of the Rest bracket, round 1, game 2. Also at 7 p.m. EST. That will be on Speed Gaming 1. So definitely be sure to tune into Speed Gaming later if you like either of those games. Like I said, we do have another Metroid Prime game coming up at 7 p.m. EST on Speed Gaming 2 if you want to see more Metroid Prime, some more of the Mentor Tournament. Remember, who was your mentor, Luigi?
Mine was Nye.
Oh, Nai. Yeah, Nai's been doing a lot of mentoring this tournament.
Yeah, I tried to get them for last race, but how the race was scheduled, they were busy.
Yeah, they definitely give a lot of good directions. I think the people who Nai have been mentoring have been doing pretty well.